Then for war. Okay, it's not quite as cringingly shite as the Amiga, or the intro to the Amiga version of Outrun, but it's still shit. Yes. Anyway, hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. And for this one, as you've just heard, this is Lords of War, which was written by Digital Concepts and was released in 1989. Now this game is basically a Amiga remake of the Atari 2600 game Warlords. And apparently they were originally going to call it Warlords, but Atari stuck their oar in and said, no, you're not going to be doing that. So they decided to change the name. Clearly they put a lot of thought into the new title of this one. Now, if you're not familiar with the original Warlords game, then go and check my review of the 2600 version. Let's get a game underway, because one game of this can last a fair while. So you can choose which castle you start in. I much prefer top left, so we'll start there. I'll say what castle you start in, I mean you're always in that one. Now this game can be one player or simultaneous two player. The Atari 2600 version could have up to 4 players, not this one. So the Atari 2600 could have 4 players, but the Amiga version couldn't. Now listen to that music. It's just a loop of like 3 seconds repeated over and over and over. Now as you play the game, the music does gradually speed up. Now you'll notice I do have a bit of a set strategy, and this is one of the reasons why one go of this can last quite a while, as I fucked it up there. I mean, yes, I do keep attacking the castle below me, but I attack it through the most heavily walled area. But because the AI is pretty dense, I can basically get through it no problem, and he almost never manages to stop me. The only time I really sort of lose it is if I stop paying attention and yeah, the skull rebounds off my wall like that, and then I lose where it's going. That wasn't quite what I had in mind, but nevertheless. So, as you may have deduced, even if you are not familiar with the original Warlords game, the idea is to smash through the walls of the enemy castles, and if the skull hits the crest in the middle, like so, you destroy the enemy, and in the case of the first few levels, you complete the level. So on to level 2. Now it says there, use your spells. I'll show spells in a bit. Now the AI doesn't really change all that much. The only thing that changes is you can now see there's this huge great stone in the way. So there's one sort of like area where I can't really fire very effectively because the stone gets in the way. Oh, you cunt. Now, occasionally the skull will light up once it's hit a set number of walls, and then if you catch the skull once it's lit up, you'll see that the border of that flashes, and you get a spell point. I am making a bit of a fuck up with this one. That hole in my castle wall is a lot larger than I'd like. I should still get through it fine. I have never failed to get past level 2, but then I am now recording this one, so if I am going to fail, it will be when I'm recording. Ah, you cunt. I was going to say, surely I've got through by now. There we go. Level 2 done. You can see the scores of the various players in each corner of the display. You'll also see there is this time until doom with this green bar above it. Now, when that green bar completely disappears, you enter essentially sudden death mode. This dragon appears in the centre of the screen, and it will fire the skull a lot faster, and after a few seconds the skull that you're using disappears and the dragon fires another one. When that happens, you cannot catch the skull at all. You can only bounce it off your whatever it is. And so then the game progresses at a much faster rate. It's basically a sort of like, basically the game telling you to get a fucking move on. I must be getting close to taking this one out. Now you may have noticed that there's not exactly a lot of variation in my strategy here, and that's because, well, it works every time. The AI is, to put it mildly, not much cop. But I think it's from level, it's either 5 or 6 onwards, you have to take out 2 castles. So then I do start to, I do start to actually do something a bit different then. Alright, guess what I'm doing. What I will do, well, when I lose control of the skull next time, I'll do it. We'll bring up the spell book and you can see what it is that you can do with spells. I should have it enough. Yeah, the screen doesn't flicker or flash when I catch the flaming skull. So that means I've already got enough spell points. Made a bit of a fuck up there and there. I realise I am being a bit quiet in this one. I'm not feeling my best. So I'm not sure, I'm not even sure if I'm going to upload this video. We'll see how well it goes. But yeah, I'm not feeling at my liveliest, so... So, I mean, there's no denying it, the first few levels are stupidly easy. Even level 5, it still just take out one enemy. Cunt. Right, what I'll do now is try to, here we go, get the spells up. So spells are increased timer. Obviously the time until doom thing moves up a little bit. Speed ball, again, pretty obvious. Ball goes faster. Slow ball, yeah, the ball goes slower. Amazing how it works, isn't it? Speed player, obviously speeds me up. Slow enemy, you have to select which one, and yeah, they move slower. Confused enemy is a bit pointless unless you're playing a multiplayer game. The left and right controls get switched around. Freeze enemy, you don't really need me to tell you what that does. Protect castle, your castle is impervious to damage. Freeze enemies, plural, they all stop. Teleport, I'm not actually sure what that one. Destroy castle, yeah, you just destroy the enemy castle. And extra castle is basically an extra life. You get 3 lives, but as you can see, I've been in no danger of losing even the first one. Underneath you have the orange, the top orange bar there is the amount of spell power you have, and the bar underneath how much power this spell will take. So yeah, it's all pretty self-explanatory. I don't actually bother using any of the spells because I can get through the game pretty well without them. Mind you, I fucked up a bit there. Right, that's one of the computer controlled ones doing that. So he's cast a spell of some kind, but I haven't got a fucking clue which one. Okay, no, I'm doing really shit now. No surprise, because I'm recording this go. So yes, it was inevitable. So as this go is going to be lasting a while, I think, let's get the review underway. Graphically, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. I've seen a lot better. I have seen worse, no denying that. But it's not what I would call, you know, mind-blowing. In terms of audio, I think the audio is utter fucking shite. The background music, as I say, consists of a single, like, 3-second loop repeated over and over and over and over and over and over fucking again. It does slowly start to speed up as the timer counts down, but I mean it just doesn't do anything. The sound effects are tolerable. The speech, however, is anything but. The speech is utter shit. First of all, that you know, unbelievably shite intro. I'm getting fuck all nowhere here. I'm going to start trying to take on this cunt. Oh, that worked. See what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually I'm going to destroy a castle and skip this level. Yeah, let's destroy him. There we go. So, level done. But now I have hardly any spell strength. But as you can see, now we have to destroy 2 castles. So anyway, getting back to the speech. Yeah, that intro, yeah, is absolute shite. But it's still nowhere near as fucking irritating as the constant "got it" every time you catch the skull. Right, the Atari 2600 version did not feel the need to play a fucking annoying sound effect every single time you you know, caught the fucking, well, in the case of that game, it was caught the ball. Castle 3, which is the one I'm tacking, has now protected its castle with a spell. It will wear off eventually, but yeah, in fact the timer has stopped now, so... So yeah, the audio, say the music is shit, the speech is shit, and the sound effects are very forgettable, you know, mediocre at best. And so we go on to the gameplay. You would have thought that an Amiga version of an Atari 2600 game, you'd have thought that the Amiga version would fucking piss all over it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't come close. The Atari 2600 version is fast. You've got to be really quick. Partly because the entire play area is in a single screen, there's no scrolling, and partly because the game isn't played at a fucking snail's pace, which is precisely what's happening with this version. It's just so slow. And then there's the control method. The Atari 2600 version uses the paddles, which makes, you know, total sense, because the 2600 version, well, with a game like this, you need the precision that you can get with analog controls. You know, whether it's speed of movement as well as like the actual direction. So yeah, you need to be able to move and react quickly. And of course with the Amiga, well, it has a mouse, so it's tailor-made for this. So of course, it would come as no surprise whatsoever to learn that Digital Concepts decided to make this game joystick controlled, and it is joystick only. The option to use a mouse isn't even there. And then there's the fact that the Atari 2600 version, okay, and bear in mind, right, the Atari 2600, a games console that had 128 bytes of memory, and its games came on 4K cartridges, and that could do 4-player versions of this game, of Warlords. Here we are on the Amiga, and it's 2-player at best. That's your only option, single player, 2-player, nothing else. No 3-player, no 2-player, no fuck all. On top of that, the AI is fucking brain dead. They are fucking hopeless. Right, the time until doom is really now starting to fucking run low. I was trying to cast a spell there. In order to bring up the spell book, you have to hold down, there you go, left and right, let's increase timer. You have to hold down or move the joystick in the direction of your own castle. So for me, I have to hold joystick up and left. You then have to, well, first of all, you've got to catch the ball. So you've got to hold down the fire button, let the skull come towards you so that you've caught it. Move the joystick in the direction of your castle, so upper left for me. Then release the fire button, and then the what do you call it? Then the spellbook comes up. So now we're into dragon mode, and I've just got myself fucking killed. So that was, rather unsurprisingly, the shittiest go I've ever had in this game. than it would be, because I'm now recording it. Because all I've done is lose a life. So, and now of course we're back to fucking square one, going through these levels again. So what Digital Concepts have actually managed to do is take a fantastic Atari 2600 game, and with so many Atari 2600 games, the thing that makes it fucking great is its simplicity. And what they've done is make it boring, because it's so fucking slow compared to the original. Make it joystick only, despite the fact that you only have to look at it to see, yeah, this is definitely a game that should be using the mouse or the pedals as it was on the Atari 2600. See, if I was using the mouse, I could have caught up with the skull all that time while all these holes were being smashed into my castle wall. But no, I haven't got the analog controls. So yeah, here, see, I can't move fast enough, which is something I could have done if it had been using a mouse. The obvious fucking control method for a game like this. So here we go again. Fucking cunts. So they've really made the games stupidly slow, given it a totally illogical, inexplicable control method, and lumbered it with utter shit fucking audio. See if I can. Yeah, alright, let's destroy castle and go on next level. There we go. Oh, what a damp squib. And here we are again. And of course, with all this stuff thrown in, you know, the slow movement of your whatever this fucking thing is that you're controlling, and the fact that it seems to take an age for you to actually do any meaningful damage to a castle wall to be able to break through it, and the awful music, the sound effects, which, well, the speech, which is utter shit. They've taken an absolute stonewall classic Atari 2600 game and made it fucking boring. I love the Atari 2600 version. It's one of my all-time favourite Atari 2600 games. But it's one of my all-time favourite games, full stop. And, okay, I didn't have this back in the day. I only heard about this after I did my review of the Atari 2600 game. And I can't remember who it was who mentioned it in the comments. Alright, so this cunt has now protected his castle. I mean, this really is fucking terrible. I mean, okay, if I'm feeling in a bit of a generous mood, right, the game itself actually is not so shit, but, you know, an Amiga version that utterly pales into insignificance compared to an Atari 2600 game. And when that happens, surely they must realise they have fucked up somewhere. You know, the game is not a total disaster, but it could have and should have been so much better than this. Done. So I'm close to smashing through his castle. And the thing is, I'm sure I have racked up enough spell points, so if I have time, and time is fast running out, I'll destroy this one, and then I'll use a spell to destroy one of the other castles. Oh, fucking hell. There we go. Right, now I need to have the skull back in my possession. There we go. Oh, I haven't got enough. Okay, let's get the timer increased a bit anyway. Fucking hell. If one computer player takes out another computer player, that counts as, you know, one of the castles destroyed. I've still survived, so therefore it counts as getting through the level. Fuck me, this is... I think I may have to... yeah, there's hardly any time left. Except again, I was trying to... Right. I've fucking done it again! And now it's too late. It's dragon time. So yeah, here we are. The dragon is now launching, and my castle is in a really shit state. So yeah, I don't rate my chances of surviving this. See, if it played this quickly, this is more like the speed of the 2600 version. It'd be alright then, but no, most of the time it's just fucking crawling along. So how do I rate it then? It is not even close to being as good as it could have and should have been. Graphically it's okay, but in terms of audio and gameplay it is a long way short. It's nowhere near good enough. So I will score it... I'll score it 4 out of 10. What a wasted opportunity to be able to do an Amiga version of Warlords and do it well. Surely it wasn't that difficult, but they have utterly fucked it up. It's nowhere near as good as the 2600 version. How fucking hard could it have been to do a decent Amiga version of an Atari 2600 game? Well, for Digital Concepts, clearly it was too fucking difficult. So, yeah, well, I think I've had enough there. So there we go. I managed to get to level 7 before boredom sets in. And that's something I think anyone playing this game is going to experience a lot of. The game's just fucking boring. It's too slow. So there we go, Lords of War for the Amiga, 4 out of 10. Should have been so much better than it is. Amiga version of a Atari 2600 game should have been fucking great, and it's utterly fucking forgettable. That brings this review to an end, and yeah, and that, and also we'll see you in the next one.